since Democrats' case for impeachment has, well, it's always been weak. We've laid it out for you for months, what they were going to try to do. We predicted a lot along the way. Well, they've had to substitute actual evidence with lies, smears, and made up Putin conversations. Well, now they have another one.
The argument put forward by the president's lawyers yesterday is a King Trump defense.
I mean, that's what kings do. That's not what presidents do.
It elevates the presidency to a place that we as Americans do not want our presidents to be, and that is in this sort of hierarchy, this sort of kingship.
Down with the king. Well, I don't remember them fretting over the checks and balances under Obama, even after he said this.
I'm also going to act on my own if Congress is deadlocked. I've got a pen to take executive actions where Congress won't, and I've got a telephone to rally folks around the country on this mission.
Obama pen and phoned his way through DACA and costly climate policies. Joining me now is Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor, and host of Newt's World podcast. All right, Newt, the Democrats' about-face on executive power and how it should be used is quite something to behold tonight.
Look, I think there's a very easy model here. Whatever Trump does, they oppose. They have no historic memory. They're so fascinated by Trump that he erases anything they might have said in the past. But I think you put your finger a minute ago on probably the key test for the Democrats that will define them for the rest of this year up to the election. That is, let's say Friday or Saturday that this is over, that the Senate has acquitted the president, he's innocent, all of the lies and things told by Schiff have collapsed. They've got to decide next week at the State of the Union. Do they want to work with this president for the rest of the year? Or do they want to continue this kind of unending hostility? And the country, I think, having gotten very tired by every poll I've seen, really doesn't want to see more bickering. So the burden is going to be on the Democrats, having done everything they could for 3 years to destroy President Trump, having failed. Do they continue for the next 8 or 10 months to try to investigate, attack, smear, whatever? Or do they say, okay, let's get a couple things done before the election to prove that we're a party that can be positive? And I think next Tuesday night at the State of the Union is going to be a very important moment. And the attitude that Pelosi and Schumer take into this is really important. I mean, they better extend an olive leaf and decide they're going to find a way to work together. Or
I don't think so.
The country will decide that, well, the country will then decide that they're pathological. That what they're dealing with is a psychological condition.
Yeah, well, Newt, speaking of pathological, I keep referring to this, but we have the soundbite now. This is Adam Schiff. After he made up that transcript that got him into so much trouble, he said it was a joke. Tonight, he made up a conversation that the president could have had with Vladimir Putin. Watch.
If the president went further and said to Putin in that secret meeting, I want you to hack Burisma. I couldn't get the Ukrainians to do it. And I'll tell you what, if you hack Burisma and you get me some good stuff, then I'm going to stop sending money to Ukraine.
The man is, I mean, it is a pathological, it's a reflexive Pavlovian response to Trump. You have to just make stuff up. You can't argue the case. You have to make it up.
Look, but I think also a comment on Schiff. I mean, Schiff personally is obviously a deranged human being. This is about Schiff. You know, Schiff is a guy who's a pathological liar. He seems to have no ability to distinguish between the truth and falsehood. He lied for 2.5 years about the Russian collusion. It all disintegrated. He looked like a fool. He learned nothing. He came back and lied again and again. And you're right. Here we are at the end of this cycle, and he goes back and decides to lie again. I mean, I think somehow people have got to decide that Adam Schiff is a compulsive, uncontrollable liar, should be dealt with that way. Listen, a healthy house would strip him of the Intelligence Committee. I mean, how could you ever expect the president and the CIA and others to share secrets with a person who's this profoundly publicly dishonest? And I think this is a Schiff problem that we've learned over the last few months. This guy literally is a pathological liar.
Well, this permeates the media as well, Newt, because it was one MSNBC guest who floated this conspiracy theory about what Trump's acquittal would actually mean.
Imagine Donald Trump deciding sometime in June, well, I heard this conspiracy theory that a whole lot of illegal immigrants voted in California. We're going to shut down voting in a state. This is literally the kind of thing he will do now. This is step one to actual autocracy, but an actual president who will say, this state's votes don't count. These people don't have a right to vote. These people can't come into the country. That is what they're allowing to happen here.
Aside from his incorrect use of the word literally, Newt, isn't it just ludicrous comments like this that are driving people to the president's side? I mean,
of course, but what's happening is all through this entire impeachment process, Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Senate, and Donald Trump have collaborated. I think they're up now to 187 judges who've been approved. Almost one out of every 4 federal judges now is a Donald Trump judge. So if you're a liberal, excuse me, you're watching a nightmare. This is like watching a Godzilla movie, and you're watching your entire system being destroyed. I mean, judges were supposed to be left-wingers who imposed on people like you and me the correct values. All of that's now disappearing.
Well, Hakeem Jeffries today was basically trying to distinguish Newt. Poor Newt. I want to pass you a lozenge right over the television screen. I've been there. I know what it is. But it was basically saying the Steele dossier, that's, digging up dirt on your opponent, a foreign source doing that. And what happened here are two different things. Try to distinguish. Watch.
The analogy is not applicable to the present situation because, first, to the extent that opposition research was obtained, it was opposition research that was purchased.
It was paid for, Newt. That's the difference. What?
Now, look, the difference between the Steele dossier and Adam Schiff is the Steele dossier was more believable. Excuse me. That's the real difference here is nothing Schiff does in a factual world would be taken seriously.
Well, we have Mazie Hirono saying that we're witnessing the coronation of Donald Trump. And then we have Barbara Lee saying we're on the verge of a dictatorship, Newt. So they've gone from coronation to all-out dictatorship. Then it'll be martial law. Tomorrow it'll be martial law. This is the level of argument and skill on the part of the Democrats. No wonder they're not convincing anyone of their obscene point of view.
But I think, Laura, what you're seeing is a movement and a party that are in total panic mode because Trump literally is beginning to dismantle their world and beginning to move America back to a more stable, a more solid, a more conservative constitutional framework. And if you're on the hard left, this is terrifying.
Well, it's like what the Remainers must be feeling like in Britain tonight with Brexit finally slowly happening. All right, we're going to let Newt, go pick up the lung that dropped on the floor just there. I'm just kidding, Newt.